Keep it simple, play our game, and get Ducks in deep. Hey, everybody, I'm Zach Cavanagh, Anaheim Ducks reporter for the Sporting Tribune, alongside Jack Janes, reporter from the Sporting Tribune, sometimes Anaheim Ducks, sometimes Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, for an emergency Ducks in Deep podcast, bringing in our Wings That Could Tell friends. One of them is in Sweden, who could get a direct interview with Leo Carlsson if he had the courage to do so, but I don't think Taylor does. And then another, our fearless producer for Wings That Could Tell, Thomas Murray, is out of state as well, so we're doing this ourselves. Big news of the day, obviously, Leo Carlsson getting his offer sheet matched by the Philadelphia Flyers. We'll get into that in a second, but first, if you're watching this on YouTube, you can subscribe to Ducks and Deep on Spotify and Apple. Leave a review and rate, review, subscribe, all that sort of stuff on there. And if you're listening to this on Spotify and Apple, you can watch Jack and I talk over Zoom on YouTube, the Sporting Tribune YouTube, at Sporting Trib. Follow all of us socials, at Zach Cav on Twitter, Instagram, and Threads, at Zach Cav Sports on TikTok and Blue Sky. Jack, you want to plug yourself on socials?
Yeah, most of my work's on Twitter, Jack underscore Jane, or no, Jack Janes underscore, right?
Yep.
I think one of those two. You just look up my name, you'll find it. Yeah, that's where most of my work is. Obviously, you can go on sportingtribune.com and find my profile. I'm usually under the Angels little tab, but sometimes I'm in Ducks, sometimes I'm in Kings, depends on where I'm needed. So,
And if you want to continue to support what we do here at Ducks and Deep, go to the Patreon. We're still open during the off season. Obviously, more news in the off season than any of us thought we were going to get to, but that's there. Patreon.com/Zach Cavanagh, as well as the travel fund. If we try to make this bigger and better going into next year, and based on the news of the day, this could be a very interesting season to cover as much as possible. So now let's get in deep, Jack, on this offer sheet. What was your reaction when you heard Leo was being matched?
so funny enough, I was taking a nap when it
Okay.
happened, as it usually happens. And I'm the type of person that wakes up like mentally brain dead for like 10 minutes before I mentally wake up after a nap. So I just woke up, saw the offer sheet, and I thought like the Ducks didn't match or something, and he was just a flyer. So I was like, what is going on? But after I finally mentally woke up and I dug more into it, um, obviously with a offer sheet of this magnitude, there's so many different thoughts going through your head. Like, how did they get here? What's this going to mean moving forward? Um, do they even match? Because obviously, record-setting offer sheet, $18 million dollars a year, all the signing bonuses that are front-loaded. Um, so I think I wouldn't say shock because you can kind of see this coming as the offseason started to begin. There were reports that offer sheets might be flying around, especially to Leo Carlsson. But it's still shocking to see $18 million. Dollars. Even for a player that's Leo Carlsson's caliber, $18 million. Dollars. It's insane. But I'm sure we're going to get into how they got here and what it is moving forward. But those were my initial thoughts.
Yeah, my initial thoughts. When we got the offer sheet, I was annoyed because I was away from home. So I detailed that a little bit on the last podcast. The 2 Fridays in a row, I was out. So very thankful that this news came out today, because tomorrow I would have been on my way to SoFi to cover my last World Cup game, and I don't know that I could have handled all of what I needed to do today with the Leo
Yeah.
stuff and that. So thankful to Ducks PR. They heard my pleas that I'd made during the week. Yeah, it ultimately I wasn't surprised they ended up matching, because I think as Pat Verbeek kind of laid out today, you have to, like, it on the surface, you're blown away by, holy crap, $18 million a year, the bonus structure of the contract. And if we don't match him, then you get 4 first round picks back. You think, oh wow, 4 first round picks. But as you sort of think about it a few times and you let the wheels crank a bit, you realize, okay, what are those 4 first round picks going to be? Philly drafted 21st this year. Are they going to be worse than that in any of the next 4 years? Do you think you're going to get a lottery pick out of any of those four? It's hard to say. Probably not. And as much as it is like, yeah, that's a lot. They said it too. How long will Leo even be the highest paid player in the league? Because Kirill Kaprizov signed the $17 million deal last year. That extension didn't kick in until this year. So even he didn't get to be the highest paid player in the league until for the year that contract kicked in. So I mean, with Connor Bedard still gets to sign even with his injury that he's got dealt with. I mean, Connor McDavid will be a free agent again soon enough, and I think he's in the stage of his career where you do take less to make things work, but it's a situation where you think about it and they both seem like bad options, but the worst option is to lose your franchise player. And that's the number one thing that the Ducks did today was lock in their franchise player. Like one way or another, it is really the Family Guy mystery box thing. Like as much as it's a
That was
joke,
my
it's like
exact thought.
it's exactly what it is. You have Leo Carlsson, but any of these four draft picks could be a boat. They could be whatever you want. But you don't know that. You have Leo, you keep Leo, and that's where they are now. So that's, I think, a good move in the long run.
Yeah, definitely agree. They kind of had to match it because, like you said, it's your franchise player. Franchise players don't grow on trees. There's no guarantee that even if you do use those four picks and say you use the four picks in one single trade and you get a really good player back, you're probably not going to get a player that's 21 years old, about to enter his prime, and probably would have been a first overall pick had it not been for a generational type player in Connor Bedard leading up to that draft. Um, but the another thing I wanted to point out as I was thinking through this, the day went on when the news dropped that Leo had signed the offer sheet, was just how masterful of a job Philadelphia did constructing this offer sheet. The more details that came out in reporting about this, the more masterful and devious it was. I mean, you got to tip your cap to Danny Briere and the staff at Philadelphia because it was just remarkable of how many times they could just twist the knife further into the Ducks side. I mean,
Yeah,
obviously the
he
18.
gets $19 million today.
Hmm.
Like
Yeah,
as soon as that
today.
gets matched, he gets $19.9 million in his pocket today.
Yeah, I mean, like obviously the $18 million AAV, that's devious in its own work. But 5 years puts him set up to enter UFA as a 26-year-old into the open market. And oh, by the way, in that fifth year, it's a full no movement clause. So say this cap structure completely screws up the Ducks and they're not good and they're not hopeful that Leo's going to resign or extend, and maybe they want to try and move him at the deadline that year to get some pieces back. Well, now they're going to be really hindered with a full movement clause. And then, the signing bonuses. He gets $19 million today, and the majority of his salary is signing bonuses, which historically speaking, the Samuelis have not been willing to do since they've taken over the Ducks. And coincidentally enough, working for the Flyers staff is Bob Murray, former GM of the Ducks, who knows this information. So
He knows a thing or
I'm
two.
not
Yeah.
accusing Bob Murray of ill doing, but the door's open for that.
Yeah,
Um,
the bonus structure is the thing that's the most interesting to me out of this deal. Like beyond the obviously he was going to get a no movement clause at some point in his next deal, and the salary is huge, but it's the structure of it in it, as you said, kind of engineered in a way to maybe turn away a team like this. And that's if you're Philadelphia, you have to make an outlandish number first of all to make the Ducks blink a little bit, and you have to make other adjustments because the money on its own, the Ducks are going to find a way to deal with it. Like the salary cap implications of it, they have the allowances in the offseason to be 10% over. That's another 10.4 million that you can go over. They're going to get long-term injury reserve relief from Troy Terry to start off the year. There are ways to manipulate that. So I don't know that that was ever really going to be a problem. They were always going to be able to afford it under the cap. And the cap, again, goes up $9.5 million each of the next two seasons. They will be fine in the long run. It hurts in the immediate for the signing bonuses. 85.3 million of that 90 million is signing bonus. In this first year, he's going to be owed something like $39 million in the first calendar year. And I wanted to pull out the quotes from Verbeek's part of the media availability today about the salary structure and about what the Samuelis said. And the Samuelis in their statement said it was an easy decision to make. I don't know how easy it ultimately was because of the cash. Um, I'm
Real
finding it
quick
here.
while you're pulling that up,
Yeah.
the base salary, which is what like a normal salary would be, 850K, 900K, 950K, 1 million, 1 million. He's essentially getting the an entry level contract for a base salary with just an ungodly amount of signing bonuses.
It's ridiculous the amount of money that he has. I thought I had a oh yeah, here we go. So there's two quotes on this. One is uh we went through our due diligence. We have multiple discussions with my inner circle with ownership. You make calls around the rest of the league, you explore things, and obviously the compensation was 4 first round picks. So we looked at that closely. And I think as we started to, the more discussions we had, it became an easier decision. It was speaking to us that we needed to match the offer sheet, which again kind of goes back to the point I was making. Like you look at it long enough, you're like, oh yeah, no, we got to sign this. And then when it came to the contract itself and how it was laid out, this kind of speaks to where Pat was with this. I mean, the contract's the contract. We do our contracts in different styles. When you're faced with this sort of predicament, you match what's on the offer sheet. And our owner was never in doubt about matching the sheet when it came to how the money was outlaid. Uh, do you believe that? Do you believe that
uh,
Henry was like, you know what? Yeah, $20 million, put it on the line.
I can't say that I believe it. No.
Yeah.
I do think that they feel that this is the best option, and I feel like Samueli is smart enough to know this is going to suck, but it's what we got to do.
Yeah. And I think that's also why the initial press release that came out, it stood out to me that the first quote we saw in the press release, take press release quotes as they go, as we know, but it wasn't Pat, it wasn't Leo. The first quote in the press release was from the Samuelis because they have to kind of get on top of this and be like, no, we're okay with this. We're giving our stamp of approval. Like we want to keep our number one guy. We're not losing our franchise center. Like if you want to go back in time, could you imagine if there was like an offer sheet for Ryan Getzlaff and it was some crazy number? You have to keep him. Like he was the guy that stirred that whole engine, and you don't just get rid of him. And that's what Leo is and will be going forward. He will continue to get better, and that's something that kind of was reiterated too. Was just the idea that the numbers are going to keep going up in terms of the contracts, and Leo is going to get better. Do we think he's going to get to $18 million better? It's hard to say that now because we don't know what that's going to be relative to in 5 years.
Yeah, what's the
So,
market going to look like in 5 years?
what's the market going to look like? What is he going to do? Like, as much as we think that there's a ceiling to him, I think that he can exceed whatever ceiling we have for him because I think he does have that sort of uh, true leader mentality. Something I wanted to ask today that we didn't get to, but it's probably more of a training camp question is, do you think this makes him more or less likely to be captain this year?
Um, I feel like it makes him less likely to be captain, but not enough for me to not consider him as a front runner to be captain. I still think he's a front runner to be to be named captain of this team next year or just moving forward, but I do think his captain stocks took a bit of a hit. But like I said, they have all summer to figure that out.
Why do you think that is, though? Do you think in your opinion, is it a money thing or is that a
Yeah, I mean,
relationship thing?
yeah, obviously, you know, offer sheets historically have been able to cause a rift in relationship between players and front offices. And just from the quotes today, it doesn't sound like there is a ton of a rift,
They said
but
all the right things.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. I'm sure both of them got heavily media trained um, heading into this to make sure they said the right things and didn't throw anyone under the bus. But it's going to be interesting to see over the next year or so, based off of actions, based off of conversations, what happens with their relationship moving forward. But I think Pat Verbeek's definitely pissed about this whole situation, but I think Verbeek has to realize he's the one that did this. If you
Yeah.
lock up Leo Carlsson before July 1st, you know, he's not in this situation. Players
Yeah.
of Leo Carlsson's caliber rarely make it to July 1st without a contract in hand already. Um, and also, I'm sure Pat Verbeek, if he were to go back in time to when he was 21 years old and someone said, here's $18 million a year for the next 5 years, I'm sure he would probably say yes as well.
Yeah. I'm going to put a pin in the Pat Verbeek
Yeah.
negotiation timeline for a second because he did lay that out. But I want to get to
Hmm.
Leo's side of this too, and you lead into it right there. The first thing he said to us, because the first question was, "Why did you sign it?" And he just, I mean, as there's no other way to get to it, but that's what it was. Uh, he said it was Leo said it was kind of an offer that I think 99% of people would sign too. Change my family and all that too. It's a pretty simple answer there, but I always wanted to be here too, so I just really hoped that they would match. He said I always wanted to be a Duck. It's my home too. Just super excited to be back. He said again later that you can't really turn down the money, and I think that's the number one thing is as whatever fair and what did Pat say? Serious and fair negotiations they were having at any point during the year. There was never going to be a point where Pat Verbeek and the Ducks were going to offer him $18 million.
No,
And so when
no.
somebody comes knocking on your door and says, "Hey, would you like $18 million, whether it's from us or the team that you currently play for?" You say, "Yeah." Like if the numbers are to be believed, what Elliot Friedman was reporting last week, which we didn't get specifics on that, we never were going to get specifics on that from Pat, that the Ducks offered 12 and a half. Leo countered with 15, knowing that they had 18 in their pocket, and the Ducks still said no. So it's quite a difference in that, but because of that difference, that's why you say, well, yeah, I got to take this because this is when are you going to get offered an $18 million contract again? Even if he performs as you think he will in the next 5 years, who knows if he was even going to make that on his next deal if he took a lower number this time?
Yeah, that and knock on wood, God forbid, say he, gets an injury in his contract year or something
Right.
like that, or he
Yeah.
has injury issues. Like, there's no guarantee he's going to get that money ever again, if he doesn't sign this contract. There's a chance he can make more than that in his next contract if he does really well and keeps progressing the way that we think that he can. But yeah, like you said, like you approach a 21-year-old with $18 million a year and with the guarantee that he's going to get paid, what, $19 million like today. Like, I don't know a 21-year-old that would say, no.
Yeah. When it comes to the relationship with him and Pat over this, he said it's a special business world too. I think he understands my decision when he saw the number. No hard feelings between us right now. Still a great relationship. And the other thing about people being okay with them, when he was asked if he felt like this was, he took the number because it's something that he felt like he deserved. And he said, it's more like when you see the number, it's hard to say no, which my teammates understand too completely. They would have done the same thing. So it's hard to answer that and answer that right now. He tried to turn most of it to his agent. But the key point of that last part there being his teammates understand. He's talked to them throughout the process. He said that a couple times. They were all super happy for him, and they would have done the same exact thing, which tells you all you need to know about whether that's going to cause a rift in the locker room. Like when it comes to the captain question, I don't think this affects it ultimately because he's going to be in the room. He's going to be the leader. He's going to be tabbed as, hey, you're the highest paid guy on the team. You got to do it now.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of puts even more of an onus of maybe you are like beyond just all the talk. You are the franchise guy. You are going to get that mantle, and I think he does get to see ultimately, because it is. I think Gudis was more of a owner or a front office pick, but I would hope that going forward that you lean into what the room says, and I think the room keeps pointing to Leo as the guy. Um, and I think if the reactions that he said that all the teammates had for him are to be believed, and they're a okay with this, and that they would take that too, then I think it's there too. But what do you think about just the part about the players being okay with it?
Yeah, heading like once it was announced that he signed it, I didn't think there was going to be really any animosity in the locker room. I think it was just going to be between player and front office. Because like the players are trying to get their money too, you know?
Mhm.
Like again, 21-year-old, $18 million. Yeah, you're going to take it. And also like this resets the market and it's going to help his teammates like Cutter Gauthier get a pretty handsome payday as he's approaching RFA status and Beckett Seneca's going to get more money now. And, if Roger McQueen ends up developing and he's a hit of a draft pick, he's going to get more money than what the Ducks thought he was going to and what he thought he was going to. So it's just like a ripple effect that goes around the locker room of like, because this guy signed that contract, we may not be as good, but I'm going to get paid. So, you know, take your losses, but I'm getting paid more. Why? I'm not going to care as much.
Yeah.
Um, so
Yeah.
it,
And
it ultimately depends on
go
who
ahead.
makes the final decision on captain. If it's Pat
Yeah.
Verbeek that's going to make the final decision, that's why I think it's going to take stock. The stock's going to take a hit. But if it's just solely based on the locker room, I don't really see that being an issue.
No, I don't either. And ultimately, I don't know that Pat has a big issue with it either. Like, again, maybe this is just the PR face of saying the right things today. But the other thing he said when asked about just the offer sheet in general, uh, Pat Verbeek said, being a former player, there's always an excitement to have a chance to determine your destiny. In this particular case, that fits that whole narrative. This is a CBA right that they have, and at any point, I don't begrudge them for taking that route. And that's the right thing to say to keep the peace here. But I think that is just the right view of it. Like,
Yeah.
both sides have their levers to pull in these negotiations. All you have to do is look at what they're doing with Cutter Gauthier. Cutter doesn't have offer sheet rights. Cutter doesn't have arbitration rights. The Ducks have him completely over a barrel, and that I anticipate will go the length of the negotiation time. Like, just because Cutter really doesn't have any other recourse other than to wait and argue it out and do the Mason McTavish thing of just waiting and waiting, waiting. Now, Mason could have gotten offer sheets, and I think there was the rumor that he was offered offer sheets but didn't take them. But that's something that Mason could have done, and that's something that Leo did here. Like, you have each side now has their ability to find their way through these negotiations, and I think if you're, I think you can be upset in the moment of like, what the hell, this is a lot of money, and this kind of screws us in other ways and things we're gonna have to deal with going forward. But it's all fair in love and war. It's all part of the rules. They didn't do anything overly sneaky other than maybe not telling them how much, obviously not telling them how much the contract was. Like, maybe they could have been a little bit more open about that if they really wanted to stay. Um, but I don't think that there's any acrimony to be had if you're really that, if you're mad about how any of this went down, you're mad about the rules in terms of just the offer sheet being offered in the first place. If you're Pat.
Or you're mad at Danny Briere for constructing the offer sheet to look like that.
Sure. Right. And that's,
Do we see Pat Verbeek challenge Danny Briere to a barn fight like Brian Burke did when Dustin Penner got offer sheeted?
yeah, I haven't found a place to slide that into my stories, but this is the second time the Ducks have dealt with an offer sheet, and it's the first time they've matched because Dustin Penner was not worth what the Oilers offered back then, and the Ducks were very happy to get a first, second, and third. I wanted to look up. I said this on the podcast. I wanted to look up what those picks became.
I tried to look it up. I couldn't figure out because they had multiple picks at that round.
Uh-huh.
And just looking at the hockey reference draft thing, it's hard to tell which pick was which.
Yeah.
But I think the first round pick was either Peter Holland or Kyle Palmieri.
Oh, okay. So, not a, eh, okay.
Kyle Palmieri was all
Kyle
right.
Palmieri is a good player. He
He just
scored.
wasn't that great in Anaheim.
Yeah,
He needed to change the scenery.
he assisted with his ACL torn last year,
Yep.
right? Yeah, good.
Yes, yes, that was
It was
awesome.
awesome. Awesome for him. Let's see. Looking through other things here from Pat and Leo. When it comes to what Leo said, I don't know that there was much more that Leo said. He wasn't getting into too much about the contract negotiations. Just said it was a stressful week. It's business. He's going to keep growing. He understands the mantle that is being placed on him now, the expectations, but he was very clear that he's not going to change any. Uh, I mean, does this change? Like, we all expected Leo to be the number one guy. Does this change your expectation for him at all?
No, because regardless what the dollar amount is, I feel like the dollar amount is what he should be developing into, not what he should be next year. I'm still looking at the view as he's 21 years old, still developing, still trying to take the next step. So, I mean, would it be great if he performed like the highest paid player in hockey and notched 100 points in a season? Yeah, that'd be awesome. But realistically speaking, I want to see him play a full season healthy, not get hurt, and get, 70, 80 points, show, growth in the defensive game and his two-way game. I still view him as a work in progress, not a finished product.
Yeah, I think last year I saw so much more of the raw ability of, oh, okay, you are the guy that they should be putting this on. And I think I saw him take that more and more as the year went on. I think maybe the playoffs are hard to say. Like, I thought he was really good against Edmonton, and he had flashes against Vegas, but it wasn't consistent enough at that point. But that's, again, he's young, he's trying to build. So I don't know that I can look at last year and say that it's not there, because you can say that you can see that all of that is there. I think Leo's the guy that you put this on, and I think he can take it because he doesn't really take anything too hard. He's a very calm, collected guy, and I'm he's getting paid enough now. He'll be perfectly happy going forward. Plenty of meals in
Yeah.
North Italia coming his way.
Yes, plenty of North Italian meals.
Yeah,
You mentioned, what he did in the playoffs. I mean, to be fair, we might have been able to score a goal on the Edmonton Oilers in the playoffs
it's true.
with that
It's true.
iteration of
It's
the
true. And,
Oilers.
and I find it funny, like listening to all the discussions around the league this week, which it was great to have the Ducks be everyone's entertainment for a week while we just sat here like looking at our watches, waiting for something to
Yeah.
happen. Um, but everyone kept pointing, like they were trying to compare, like, man, is he really worth this? Like, look, he only put up 67 points last year or 70 points, whatever it was. And I'm like, nobody seemed to remember to mention that he was injured part of the year.
Yeah, because like think back what the discussion was around Leo Carlsson in like November, early December before he got hurt. It was like, oh my God, he's on pace for 110 points.
Yeah.
Leo Carlsson's here. He's one of the best players in the game. Yada yada. Then he gets the injury and he tries to play through it for a few weeks, and it completely stunts his point production. And that talk went away, but people still recognize the talent that he had. And I feel like that conversation didn't flip until an $18 million price tag got put on him.
Right. He was playing his best hockey at certain points of the year, and even when he got back, it took a while, but he got back to that pace late in the year. I thought too. So
Yeah, he picked
I
it up at the end.
yeah, I'm not worried about that. Like he, do you think he's going to be 100 point player? Maybe not, but he's at least like a 80 to 90 point player every single season. Like that's not going to be a problem, especially like if the Ducks, if the rest of their core works out, then they're going to be fine. Um, we got 10 minutes left here, so let's move. I'm not paying for Zoom, everyone.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, we're going on. Uh, do you have any other questions from what you saw today while I kind of scan?
Just from today, no, just because I pretty much knew we weren't going to get any like juicy details and contract negotiations and stuff like that. The stuff that
Yeah.
we really want to know the answer
Oh,
to, but we're probably never going to get.
yeah,
But
there you go. That's the thing I put a pin on. Pat did lay out a timeline, and this was in his
oh
opening
yes,
statement. We didn't have to ask. He felt that it was necessary that he put this out there. So this is what Pat Verbeek's version of events went. Last September, he met with the agents of Leo, Cutter, and Jackson Lacombe, made fair and serious offers at that particular point. As you saw, they were able to get a deal done with Jackson Lacombe at that particular time. This is, again, Pat Verbeek's words. We continue to talk with Leo and Cutter during the season, which I thought was interesting because he said multiple times during the year, so did Leo and Cutter, that they had tabled talks. So for him to say that they were still talking during the year is a little bit of a new revelation.
quick question. I only remember them saying that at the trade deadline, like near the trade deadline. Did they say that before, like throughout the season? Because I could
They,
see them going through talks in the beginning of the season, and then once,
yeah,
the new year hits or something like that, they say, okay, let's just focus on the season.
yeah, I know that they had said it. Obviously, they had said it at the deadline. Pat had said it in January on a Victory Plus interview, and I seem to remember us asking Leo and Cutter earlier in the year uh, about it, and I think they both kind of said the same thing, and that's why when they said it later, I wasn't totally surprised. Um, but yeah, I fully, I don't even know how serious those discussions would have been, just because it didn't seem like everybody was really like all in on the discussions at that point. Um, but either way, when the season ended, the Ducks immediately picked up discussions again with Leo's agents, and that went all the way to July 1st. And this is where Pat Verbeek said that it was 3 or 4 days before July 1st that he felt he was getting slow walked to July 1st. And at that point, I informed ownership that there could be a possible offer sheet coming our way. And as you saw, there was plenty of cap space. We were prepared to accept offer sheets with all the cap space that we had. So again, I don't begrudge anybody on either side of this either. Like Pat had the time to get this done earlier, and maybe we don't know what those early offers were, but once you're getting close enough to July 1st, unless you're making a huge push on Pat's part, which it doesn't sound like he was ultimately doing based on the dollar figures, then if you're the other side, the agent and the player, you say, okay, well, I know that we're probably going to be able to get a big offer sheet come July 1st, so we're right here. Why not just wait? So I do now start to see a little bit of splitting the blame, but this is again coming from Verbeek. What do you make of what is said there?
I'm curious as to the reporting that Elliot Friedman put out where the morning of the offer sheet, Ducks came in with 12 to 12.5 million dollars a year. Leo said, "How about 15?" And they said nope, and then they went with the offer sheet. I'm curious if Verbeek had a counter offer to that at
Mhm.
all. Did he raise it to 13? Did he try to even raise it at all? Or did he just say, yeah, no, go with the offer sheet and we'll match it? That's what I really
Yeah.
want to know.
That's kind of what it sounded like happened too, because
Yeah,
Pat also tried to correct a little bit of the timeline of the report of when offers
yeah.
were coming. Again, I don't when it comes to the he said they said about all of this, whether it's from the insiders or them, it's hard to know. It's a truth that we'll never have because we're not in the room. So
Because if Verbeek came out to say, we'll match any offer sheet, like, don't even try to offer sheet, we'll match any offer sheet. If you knew, if Leo Carlsson told you they had an offer sheet and they offered you 15, you
right,
probably should have thought this is going to be more than 15, huh? Like,
maybe,
this is probably
yeah,
going to be more than 15.
yeah.
So why not make an more aggressive offer closer to 15 without blowing it out of the water, or just saying, yeah, just go with the offer sheet, we'll match it, because you should have known it's going to be significantly worse than what you think it's going to be.
You or maybe he thought that 15 was going to be the offer.
He could have thought that Carlson was bluffing on 15 and it was really like a, I don't know, $14 million offer or something.
Yeah, I
Or that was going to be the offer sheet that they were just saying match it.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't
I
know.
mean, one way or another, he ultimately said like, did we think it was going to be that high? No, we did not. So that's exactly what he said too. It was like, oh, okay,
uh,
well, then egg on your face, Pat, because you didn't know. But
yeah.
it's certainly a learning situation for everybody. It's a learning situation for the Ducks' future free agents that are going to have to deal with this. It's a learning situation for Pat and for the Samuelis of this league is changing now, and they everybody sort of said so in the call too. And this kind of changes how everything goes, changes how everything changes how everything goes going forward. There's my words. Whether it's with the Ducks, whether it's with other players in the league, this is a watershed moment of how these things are going to go going forward. It's not going to be the same negotiating point for everybody. Elliot Friedman said it on his podcast last week that every other team is going to look at the Ducks and say, we can't have that happen to us. And every other player in the league is going to say, oh, if I can just get to July 1st, then I could get anything. So we'll see how that all plays out for the rest of the league, I guess. The Ducks don't have to deal with it for at least 2 years with Beckett, so that'll be fun.
Yeah.
Um, other things to note from Pat. He said that he knows that he's going to have some work to do to get everybody under the cap. What that work is, he wouldn't say. He tried to sell that. Hey, I signed AJ Greer and Jeff Malott. I'm good with what I did. Okay,
I mean, I will say AJ Greer and Jeff Malott's better than Ross Johnson and Jeffrey Viel,
I like AJ Greer.
I do
He,
too. I thought
he's
he was a
inter
great addition. $4 million
yeah,
dollars is a little pricey for him, but
but again, the cap's going to go up. You're like, and you're
yeah.
going to have the salary cap relief. Like, there's going to be ways to work around it. The one of the things I asked was because this has been a criticism too of where the Ducks are now going into the rest of the offseason. This is your defense. You're good with this. You want this. You want all these young kids just roaming around out there. And Pat said, I'm very happy. We've got a good young defense. When I look at our defense, most of them played in the playoffs last year, which is true. The only one that hasn't is Tristan Luneau, who we see making the team next year, and a guy who scored a huge goal to make us help us get into the playoffs, putting a lot of emphasis on scoring one goal against the Nashville Predators at the end of the
Can we
season.
can we nickname the Ducks defensive zone the playground? Maybe the
Yeah,
blue line, just the
I
playground.
mean, they're not 20-year-old kids anymore. They're at least 23.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what Pat's leaning on. And I mean, I guess I'm okay with it too because at some point you just got to let the kids run
Yeah.
and this is your time to do it. Like it's gonna be a year of growing pains back there maybe, but you have all these young guys, they're all going to play at some point and here you are. Now you're at the time to do it. All right. Don't have a whole lot of time left. So we're gonna cut it off there. Any last thought, Jack, on Leo Carlson 5-year deal.
Two quick thoughts. One, I just have to point out the hilarious quote in the press release from Henry Samueli. Pat has intelligently left enough cap space to give us the ability to retain Leo, just like how the Angels intelligently restructured Anthony Rendon's contract to make sure it doesn't impact them as much this year. And also, I'll do a quick rapid fire question for you. Chris Kreider, Alex Killorn, Frank Petrano. How many of those players are Ducks come opening night?
Oh
You don't have to say
boy.
who, just how many.
I would think you're to be to have the most flexibility as possible, you can only have one probably.
My thought too. I think it's either going to be Kreider or Killorn that stays.
Yeah. Because the other thing that I asked Pat about, like, hey, are you interested in trying to, with Terry being out, are you, looking to maybe make a move there to upgrade on the wing? And he said, we got Sam Colangelo. He's excited. So
I bet he is excited.
yeah, he's
Yeah.
he's ready to go. That's all we got today from the big news. Leo Carlsson again signing, or the Ducks matching Leo Carlsson's offer sheet from the Philadelphia Flyers for a 5-year, $90 million deal. Not much left for the Ducks to do this offseason. We touched on they need to re-sign Cutter Gauthier. It seems like they're okay with the defense. Seems like they're okay with the forwards. Uh, we'll see. We'll see what kind of moves go on. But this is it now. Like the kind of quiet until September, which is okay, I think.
Yeah, they got $9 million of cap space and only Cutter Gauthier to sign left. And I don't think he's going to sign for $9 million. I think it's going to be
No,
a little bit more than that.
no,
And by a
and
little bit, I mean probably about 12 or 13, maybe.
I'm glad he said the 9 number. Just before we go, people keep looking at Puckpedia for the salary cap number. That number includes Laurent Brossois' 1.1 million. So send that down to San Diego and they've got it like 10.1. Is that still enough?
I was going to
No.
say, either way, that's not enough for Cutter Gauthier. So
No. That's not enough. Even
there
if
will
you
be
add
movement.
in the 3.9 that you're going to get for salary cap relief from Troy Terry, that's not going to be enough. Something will happen. As you asked, one of those veterans is going to move. I mean, I think Frank Petrano is an easy one to ship out.
I thought he was going to be gone even before this offer sheet.
Same. And now it's a matter of who do you choose from the rest of them? Is it Kreider? Is it Killorn? Is it both? Is it one? Is it somebody else? I don't know what else you could really trim because you're keeping Mikael Granlund, you're keeping Ryan Paling,
You're
you're
keeping Troy Terry.
keeping Troy Terry, keeping AJ Greer, you're keeping all those guys. Uh, it's I mean it's got to be one of those two, you think? So we'll see. But all right, that'll wrap this up for this spring on edition of Ducks and Deep, which could have been Wings on Catella if people were here, but instead we get the benefit on Ducks and Deep.
Wings in
Um,
deep.
Wings in Deep. Jack, anything you want to plug outside of what we talked about here today?
No, just, follow my work on the Sporting Tribune, be doing Angel stuff here coming up. I'm also freelancing for MLB.com, so I'll be mixing in on Angels coverage and whoever the visiting team is. Any St. Louis Cardinals fans out there, I'll be there in 2 weeks when they come into town, so
Yeah.
look out for that.
Yeah, the Angels beat rolls on despite nobody caring about what's going on across the freeway.
Mike Trout's came back off the
Yeah, he
IL in
did.
time to play in the All-Star game in Philadelphia.
Yeah, he hit a home
Just
run,
don't ask
right?
about anything
Yeah.
else that's going on.
Yeah. Well, yeah, less said about that, the better.
Yeah.
Um, you'll find all the coverage from today on the sportingtribune.com. This will probably be up before I get to write anything because I do have other things to do today. But yeah, all the coverage from the Leo stuff from the week on the sportingtribune.com and whatever happens with Cutter Gauthier going forward. Again, the sportingtribune.com. Follow on all the socials at Zach Cav, at Zach Cav Sports, at Sporting Trib. That's what it is. Subscribe again if you're watching this on YouTube. Thank you. If you want to listen to it in your pocket, you can download it on Spotify and Apple. If you're listening to us in your pocket, but you'd rather see our beautiful faces talking about the Anaheim Ducks and whatever jersey combination I have going on behind me at any given point in time, you can watch on the Sporting Tribune YouTube page at Sporting Trib on YouTube. And again, Patreon is there if you want to keep supporting as we build up to the off season. It's been a wild off season, even if it's shorter than it normally is. It's been nuts, and there's still a couple more steps to go. So, for Jack, I'm Zach. This has been Ducks and Deep, and until next time, see you at the rink.